so...
It's them bloody Tories, mate. Can I ask one question?
Yeah.
Are you scared for the future of this planet?
Yeah, of course.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most severe bit of fear and 0 being the minimal bit of fear, how fearful are you for the future of this planet?
8.
8.
Yeah.
So it's not, could be worse.
Well, we have 3 years.
We have 3 years, before what?
Before it's too late
Right.
to do anything.
Right.
It's already too late. 1.5 is already built in.
Right.
So 1.5 degrees C is already happening now. There's nothing we can do about that. But 2 degrees, we could stop that within 3 years. So if things like what we're doing today can, gets to change and they invest in renewables and insulate homes, we could do something about it. So that's why it's an 8 and not a 10.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah?
What happens if we undertake all these measures and make everything net zero and it all goes green and the temperature carries on rising because of volcanoes and rotting food and rotting like vegetation, like plant life and all that sort of stuff? What happens if that is enough? Because I was of the understanding that humans only produce 0.4% CO2 into the atmosphere, and like the other...
Are you a climate science denier? Who are you from?
My name's Jim Boobeh, I'm autistic, I've got an internet channel.
Okay.
Right, so I just see things black and white, I look at the data and analyse it without getting so much wrapped up in the fear propaganda. Do you see the scene?
Well, it's not fear, is it? It's
well, no, because
reality.
you only said it was an 8, so it clearly ain't.
Well, it's have you seen the BBC programme yet? You want to watch
Unvaccinated?
That? No. It's called Big Oil versus the World. It just came out this week.
Right.
3-parter on BBC Two. Get on it and have a look at it. Then you'll see the reality of what the oil companies knew and what the situation is going to be if we don't do something about it now.
Would you be for a carbon social credit score?
Yeah, things like that.
Straight.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. We need to...
What about stopping people from going on
private jets?
Well, no. What about the normal flights?
Well, that's a bit much to ask people to stop flying altogether. 1 flight a year.
1 flight a year?
Yeah. And then if you want to go for more than one, you pay more.
You pay more?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's a tax on the poor?
Yeah. No, it isn't. It's
No?
a tax on the flight. They
Again?
still get their flight to Mallorca or to Zambia or wherever they're going on holiday. You get 1 flight a year, normal price. If you want to fly again, it goes up incrementally. So it's like 5% for your second and, 10% for your third.
And you don't see that as a bit unequitable outcome for the poor?
No, because the people who are going to be able to afford that are not poor people, are they?
No.
I haven't been on a plane this year.
Right. I haven't been on a plane in 10 years.
I haven't been on a plane in 6 years. But anyway,
Right.
so the
15.
people who are flying now more than once a year, they need to pay more. In fact, we already pay... how can you have a flight to Mallorca for 15 quid? Who's paying for that? The Earth is paying for that, isn't it?
Right.
It's not £15 for that ticket.
Well...
Because it costs about 100,000 to fly the plane.
Does
so
it?
I don't know the maths.
Well, this is the thing, this is an issue. This is an issue of people making arguments they're not sure about.
Well, all right, I do know that the people who are polluting the world are the 1%.
Or the 1% of the 1%, yeah.
The highest earners
The
in the world.
loyalties and
Yeah,
all the hedge funds
Yeah,
and all that sort of thing.
So the ones who fly in their private jet and they only have 2 people in the jet, that's not efficient, is it?
What about domestic flights? Can we cease all them, ban all them?
Yeah, of course. We don't need them.
Don't need them? Get a
Or
train?
can use the money that those flights... All right, so you could keep them for another 5 years, right? And then you could charge a levy, and that levy then pays for the trains.
How do you feel about talking about levies? How do you feel about levies on electric vehicles now? Do you think...
Well, currently there's no levy at all.
No, but they're looking to implement a tax for them.
I know, they're fucking...
So what do you feel about that?
I don't agree with that.
You don't agree with that?
No, I've got an electric car.
Right.
It cost me 25 grand. They're not cheap. I already pay
Right.
the levy.
What about the Africans, the small African children farming the lithium though? Is there any sort of thought that gets spared for them when? Because people, don't get me wrong, it's a very noble gesture, but when you break it down, it's like the same thing. Do you eat tin tomatoes?
Yeah, I do.
Right, same thing. Like in Italy, they've got all these Africans living in shacks picking these tomatoes and that.
I know.
No
okay,
one
so
really gives. It's all very nice and being virtuous, coming out waving a flag.
I'm not.
But are we making the things at home to implement the change we want to be and see in the
exactly.
world?
There's way more to it than mine or your personal behaviour.
But you want to tax me and stop me from being able to fly more than once a year.
Yeah.
So that is actually having an effect on my personal behaviour.
Yeah.
So that's a massive contradiction there.
No.
In one sentence.
What I mean is, it's not enough to focus on individual behaviour. It has to be at a massively government and big business level. So they need to pay for us to transition from the current state, the current way of life, to a different way of life where we can live.
And how much are you willing to sacrifice for that? How much of your comfortable way of living are you willing to sacrifice?
Well, it's not about giving stuff up.
Well, it is.
No, it isn't.
Fundamentally, they're gonna start saying how much electricity we're allowed to use.
Well, that's because Russia's cut off the gas supply.
Got nothing to do with that.
It isn't. Of course it is.
Do you know who Klaus Schwab is? Do you know who Klaus Schwab is?
Klaus
Schwab.
No.
Have you ever heard of the World Economic Forum?
Yeah, of course.
Right. Well, he's the chair of that.
Yeah.
Right. And he has got a plan.